You guys ready? All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the COMIDA July board meeting. It's a little bit past noon. I'm going to call the meeting to order, and as we always like to say, Monroe County is now open for business. All right. Norm, would you please lead us in the pledge of allegiance, please? To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, looks like we've got a pretty robust agenda for today, but as usual, we'll try to get through this as quickly as we possibly can. I understand we also have some individuals who have joined us for some public comments, I think, right? So I just want to welcome you all and thank you for joining us as well. We'll call you up when the time comes on the agenda, and you're welcome to join us for your comments, okay? The second order we have on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Do we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the June 16th, 2026 meeting? Moved by Red, seconded by Lisa. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions. The motion carries. Okay, and as quickly as I said it, as quickly it has arrived. We have public comments. Robin, has anyone signed up for public comments?
Yes, we have 3 people.
Okay, I believe the first person signed up is Mr. Mike Stafford. Welcome.
Hey. Yeah, good morning or afternoon. I want to thank you for letting me come speak. I'm speaking about the project, 2695 Commercial LLC, the apartments going in Henrietta. I'm here as a town resident. I do have some questions and concerns. They were able to. The project got a special use permit to add an additional floor when it was approved to make it more viable. So I want everybody to keep that in mind. But first, I'm all for affordable housing in Henrietta. I also in favor of tax incentives when they create a good number of jobs that are permanent jobs. So that's where I'm kind of going with this whole thing. I understand unless it has changed since when they were planning this, these are all market value apartments and there's not going to be any rent income based apartments. I don't know if that's still true or not. I don't know if I can get this meeting, if they'll answer questions or not.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a breakdown of what the apartment, the 1 bedrooms cost, the 2 bedrooms cost, and the 3 bedrooms cost, what the rents would be. It says senior apartments. Are they just for folks over 55 or just for the folks over 55 renting an apartment? Can people under 55 live there? That's one question I do wonder. And when I say create some good full-time jobs, according to their application, I see it's only going to create 2 full-time jobs and 1 part-time job. Given a lot of the town of Henrietta is giving up a lot of future tax money. It looks like $2.2 million over the next 13 years in a pilot, and about $68,000 in mortgage tax. So I don't know, as a town resident, I can tell you, I don't think I want to subsidize this project. I think there's probably a lot of other residents that feel the same way as I do. And when I said the $2.2 million for the pilot money, that includes the money for the school, Henrietta School District, Rush Henrietta School District. Seeing the packet that they provided, or that was provided online, I should say, the seeker is about 11 years old. That's really not up to date. There's been hundreds of units, apartment units, built near there since then. I would have thought they would have, more up-to-date one would have been provided. The land comprehensive plan that was provided in the packet was from 2003. There's been an updated one since then. And so once again, all for senior housing in Henrietta. We all know we need more housing. There's no, I don't think anybody in this room can argue that point. But I just don't think the taxpayers of Henrietta should be subsidizing for the developer, especially when they are gonna, at one time they said the average would be $2,000 an apartment. And 86 apartments, 87 apartments, that's a lot of money per month that they can make it back. So, and I think that's about it. So I'm obviously against this.
Awesome.
Any subsidies? Thank you.
All right, Mr. Saffer, thank you for your comments. You know, as we progress on to this project, we'll read a project summary, and embedded within the summary, I believe you have some answers to some of your questions. To the extent that they're not all answered, you know, you're more than welcome to submit your questions in writing to us, and we will also respond. Maybe before we move on, this is a little bit off of the script, but you know, I know that.
I'm sorry, can I just mention one other thing?
Sure.
I don't know if this matters to you folks or not, but I've been told that special use permit has expired anyways.
Okay, thank you.
And did you make a decision today or some at a later?
We're going to vote on it today.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so, this is actually a question, Rachel, for you. I know that there has been some general misunderstanding in the public about the type of abatements that COMIDA approves. Just for your education and the general public's education, as a policy, and correct me if I'm wrong, COMIDA doesn't abate current property taxes. And so from that standpoint, when we approve an incentive, it's never dilutive to the jurisdiction based on the current tax revenue that they're generating. We only provide an abatement for future incremental revenue. But for the development, if the parcel of the development didn't take place, the tax revenue would remain the same almost into perpetuity. And so from that standpoint, we are incentivizing additional development in an otherwise unutilized area. So we're actually creating additional tax revenue in the future. So it's providing incremental revenue to the jurisdictions over a period of time. So they're not losing money, we're actually creating revenue over time. Is that correct? Okay. But thank you for your comments. I think the next individual we have signed up is a Ms. Rebecca Collins.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity to speak. My name is Rebecca Collins and I live in Webster. I'm a member of Color Webster Green, one of about a dozen color community green groups across Monroe County. We identify locally relevant high-impact climate solutions and develop strategies to move those solutions forward. I'm sure you're aware that New York State passed a climate law in 2019, the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, or CLCPA. It mandates an 85% reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. And additionally, Monroe County recently passed their own climate action plan, also with a goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions 80% by 2050. If you look at an inventory of greenhouse gas emissions in Monroe County, the main sources are vehicles and buildings. As board members of COMIDA, you incentivize businesses to build or expand locally by offering tax exemptions and real property tax abatements. The projects you have approved just this year will give developers millions of dollars in exemptions. You have a unique opportunity and the authority to make positive changes in how buildings are constructed in Monroe County. You can make changes to your policies. If developers want these incredible tax savings, all new buildings should be constructed with energy-efficient all-electric systems in order to comply with the CLCPA and the Monroe County Climate Action Plan. In my opinion, I feel it's irresponsible to authorize new development that does not comply with the greenhouse gas reduction goals. A fossil fuel-based building built this year will still be around and burning fossil fuels in 2050, and will need to be retrofitted at additional expense to switch to an electric system in order to meet the 2050 emissions reduction goals. The practical solution is to make changes in the policy now. I moved here 10 years ago after living in the Bay Area for 30 years ago. I definitely felt the effects of climate change in California. As a volunteer firefighter, I saw an increase in periods of drought and an increase in wildfires. Since moving to Western New York, I've also noticed some trends. We've experienced increasing periods of very low quality, poor air quality due to forest fires burning out of control, and these are largely due to climate change. We've also seen an increase in heavy precipitation events. As a Webster resident, in 2024, we had 6 inches of rainfall in an hour and a half. So climate change is real and it's happening here. So I'm asking you to please be responsible, conscientious leaders and amend the policies for pilot applicants. This will truly make an impact in greenhouse gas emissions here in Monroe County and can be a model for other communities to make the right choices to ensure a healthy, sustainable future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next up, I believe we have a Miss Ellen Henry.
Thank you for hearing us. My name is Ellen Henry. I'm a longtime resident of the edge of parenting. My kids went to Pittsburgh School, so I'm in the same geopolitical setting as the proposed Bushnell's Basin WDG2 or whatever housing development. My comment is actually regarding the requested pilot for this project. And if I understand the proposal correctly, it's worth more than $1 million over 10-ish years, plus additional sales tax exemption, which I guess is a great benefit for the builder. I'm not sure, and maybe your comment negates my assumption, but I'm not sure what the benefit to the town of Parenton is. They'll get some more residents and taxpayers, but if they're not being provided with the amount of county and local taxes that they were expecting, they still have to provide services such as roads and water and sewer. Likewise, the children in those new residences will go to Pittsburgh schools, and Pittsburgh schools will have to accommodate more kids. But are they doing that with less revenue than anticipated? So maybe I need to talk to you about the details there. But anyway, somehow, wherever the roots of the money go, we taxpayers are subsidizing housing projects and other projects that get pilots. And it seems to me we ought to demand that these new buildings at least meet 21st century standards of energy efficiency with high performance insulation and windows, EV ready charging, all electric appliances, including HVAC and so on. As far as I know, the proposed project in Bushnell's Basin buildings do not meet these requirements, and therefore I and many of my colleagues think it doesn't deserve a tax payment. I'm not against the project as general. So I only relatively recently learned about COMIDA and its role and potential to be a major driver of enhancing the county's sustainability as well as housing stock. Monroe County and some suburban towns, as Becky mentioned, passed climate action plans that have a goal of 80% greenhouse gas emissions reductions by 2050. And these homes will still be around in 2050. So for COMIDA to continue incentivizing buildings that will add to the problem of climate change for decades is counterproductive and will impede meeting these county and state climate goals. So it seems to me that this greenhouse gas emissions goal of climate change needs to be a top priority. I'm sure you've noticed that we've been experiencing, again, unhealthy levels of wildfire smoke and heat. Do we want to exacerbate these conditions for our children when we have the technology now to mitigate these impacts? This seems really irresponsible and immoral to me when the need for change is so urgent. The county, through COMIDA, has well provided to provide, it was well situated, positioned to provide a mechanism for this change by creating forward-looking policies to incentivize only energy efficient buildings, as is actually suggested in the county climate action plan. So I look forward to new policies. Thank you.
Ms. Collins and Ms. Henry, thank you for your comments. I can tell you that I, for one, believe in climate change. I think that your comments are well placed, and I can tell you that in the future, I think that as a board we are going to take under consideration green building codes and building efficiency as it relates to COMIDA and as it relates to the county's climate action plan. So we're not there today, but in the future, we'll take it under consideration. We are going to vote on these projects today, but it's not to say that your comments haven't been heard. Okay, so thank you for showing up. Okay, excellent. Do we have any additional comments? No. Okay, all right. Thank you. Moving on. The next item on the agenda is the local labor monitoring report. I believe we have Kevin joining us today. Kevin, welcome. How are you?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I have our June monitoring report covering our visits between the 1st and the 30th of June, 2026. During this period, we had 68 monthly site visits. We had 3 follow-up visits. We checked residency with 833 workers. We had 5 issues of non-compliance. 4 were no proof of residence, 1 was out of area. We had 4 new COMIDA signs delivered to Love Beats Production LLC, 135 FedEx Way LLC, Phillips Real Estate LLC, and 120 Redev LLC. Any questions on the inspection?
No.
Okay, so I will move into our approved waivers. We just had 1 exemption request that was approved. This is for the McAlpin Industries Inc. project. The company is Midwest Finishing Systems Inc. Submitted under the warranty category here. So Midwest Finishing Systems is located in Mishawaka, Indiana. They'll be installing new powder coating equipment at the McAlpin Industries site located 865 Hard Road in Webster. The manufacturer of the equipment, which is Midwest Finishing Systems, provides a warranty for their equipment as long as it is installed by their own in-house trained employees. This will consist of a pre-treatment equipment and a conveyor for powder paint systems. The installation requires moving large equipment modules with forklifts, extensive field welding of structural members, startup of the ovens and pre-treatment washer, which have industrial gas burners, and the startup of a continuous conveyor system. So this equipment is all designed to the specifications of McAlpin Industries. The waiver is for a total of 9 employees that are expected to be on site for under 2 months. There are no manufacturers of a powder coating system anywhere within the defined Monroe County local area.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any questions or comments for Kevin?
Okay, have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Kevin.
Thanks
for joining us. Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda, we have the financial report. Filling in for Greg, we have Mr. Alex Kingston. Welcome, Alex. Welcome back, I should say.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
It's good to see you.
Yeah. So going through the financial report, cash, we are at 1.4 million on hand, which is up 800,000 from the end of last year, 6 months ago, primarily driven by treasury liquidations and against the decrease in net assets year to date, cash required there. And then for our investments, we're currently at 16.1 million in our portfolio, and since inception, we've purchased 31 securities and redeemed 23 of those, with an average overall return of 4.67%. In our prepaid assets, we mainly 2 items. Our Civic Serve Economic Development Platform is about 17,000 of that, and then we have prepaid insurance of 7,000 that will be amortized as it's earned. On the accounts payable side, really the only main item is an amount due to Imagine Monroe from Apex. And then on the accrued liability side, we have 245,000 accrued for the end of the year Monroe County contract. $125,000 for Ibero, $75,000 for the Child First Network, $52,000 for Retain, and $237,000 for MCC Empower. And then in other liabilities, we have $4.9 million for Fast New York funding that's still payable, and we've reimbursed RG&E for $4.5 so far year to date. Now on the fee side, we're at $1.2 million year to date, which is $1 million over budget to this point. And during June, we received, or at least the largest during the month, we received $432. $191,000 of that was from M&M Property Real Estate LLC, $118,000 from Rochester Joint Schools Construction Board, and then $94,000 from 120 Rev Dev LLC. Interest income, we received a little over $1,000 from just bank accounts, and then recorded about almost $27,000 of interest income related to treasury investments. On the program and community development side, we have spent more than budget, but the big items in June are, I guess the increase is mainly driven by the timing of the workforce development program and those invoices coming through. And then related to workforce development, we have $8.6 million set aside. Overall, we've committed 8.5 of that, so there's about $113,000 available. 5.7 million has been invoiced so far. 1.9 million has yet to be invoiced, and then we have about 800,000 of those committed funds that likely are not expected to be used. On the G&A side, we are 65,000 under budget, and that's primarily driven by lower legal, waiver processing, staff development, and then just general G&A expense as compared to the budget. And then Apex, we are in a net positive position, but that's primarily driven by in-kind reimbursement activity that isn't directly reflected in their expense. But in summary, I mean, the net deficit is better than budget, and aside from that, everything else is aligned with what we'd expect.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Alex. The financial statements were previously circulated in your board packets, so all board members have had an opportunity to review. Does anyone have any questions for Alex? Okay. All right, thank you, Alex. I do want to recognize Steve Carl, who's here with us from High Probability Advisors. Steve, you're more than welcome to provide some comments if you like.
Great, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I love how you started the meeting that Monroe County is open for business. So I really appreciate it as a business owner, and I'm very excited that we get to be a part of that in some small way in managing the funds for COMIDA. So
sure.
Alex went over a lot of that information. If you have any questions, I just want to make sure we're always available for you. Your staff has been tremendous to work with, and hopefully that's worked well. If there's one thing I'll just point out that, you know, we obviously our number one priority is make sure we keep it within the regulatory compliance that you have, so we're very aware of those. We do that. We are now starting to make a move to move it a little bit longer on the curve where we can in duration, and just because we think we're seeing the inflation moderate, yield curve normalize, so that we're potentially looking at reduced rates, so we want to lock in some of the higher rates that we can for COMIDA. So that's what we're doing, but everything we do is completely liquid. We could sell it tomorrow on a moment's notice, so we try to make sure we have all those things in consideration. Whatever you need, we're ready for. So if there's any questions, we're more than happy to take them. With that.
Thanks, Steve. Any questions for Steve? Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Well, I was just wondering, I mean, your presentation is obviously based on forward assumptions, and the suggestion that inflation may moderate is obviously not a position that everyone agrees with.
Right, it has been, that's what we're saying. And
You're saying it has been?
It has been, yes. It's a great point, Brian. That we try not to make any large predictions, but as we're looking at it, and if you look, we can only go with a 2-year duration standpoint, so we're just moving out a little bit. If you look at the Fed situation right now, where they're looking at any opportunity to have rate cuts, I would think, you know, we're just trying to make sure we stay within that realm. We're not trying to, I appreciate your point, because we're not trying to make any big predictions going forward.
If you watch the 10-year and how that keeps elevating. You watch mortgage rates go up.
Yeah.
But within a 2-year time horizon, I understand.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Any
Thank
other
you, Steve.
questions? All right, thank you so much.
Sorry, Brian, I was watching your face.
It's an ex-banker at work. Okay. Moving on to the project applications, I believe we have 3 applications for consideration today. The first on our agenda is Qualitro Company, LLC. Anna, would you please read the project summary? Great.
Thank you. Qualitro Corporation, a manufacturer of substation and transformer monitoring and protection devices used by electric utilities and original equipment manufacturing companies, is proposing the expansion of its 30,000 square foot facility in the town of Perrington by an additional 60,000 square feet. The proposed expansion will allow Qualitro to add new equipment and increase employees to meet growth goals. Qualitro plans to create 117 new full-time equivalent jobs in addition to its existing 245 FTEs. The $15.5 million project is seeking a custom real property tax abatement supported by the town of Perrington and a sales tax exemption. And the cost to benefit ratio is 163-1. And I just want to note that this is a significant and exciting win. This was a competitive project, and I want to commend our economic development staff and thank Qualitro for this investment as well. So.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. I didn't know much about Qualitro before the application, but it seems like a phenomenal business. We have a representative from Qualitro in attendance with us today. Mr. I don't want to get your last name wrong, but is it Pietrantoni?
So that's not me. That's
Oh, okay.
the guy over there.
Oh, okay.
That's Nick Pietrantoni. Yeah.
Pietrantoni. Oh, okay, I did get it right. Oh, okay, so you must be Mr. Daniel Kim.
That is close to.
Okay.
I'm Jim Nieder. So.
Okay. I'm like 0 for 2. All right.
So I came today because my name is Jim Nieders, and I work for Qualitro. I'm responsible for global operations for Qualitro, and I am the lucky and proud person to be responsible for this expansion of our business. Qualitro has been a steady business in Perrington for more than 50 years. It's a good company, and it's been around for a long time, and this project is going to ensure that we stay in Perrington for many, many years to come. I agree with you. This was a very competitive application process, and many companies in our area, have many options to go to different places and build their business, and we want to stay in Monroe County. We want to stay in Perrington. We want to stay in Fairport. Mostly my wife wants to stay, so thank you again to COMIDA for helping to make this competitive. New York is not the easiest place to do business, we all know that, but COMIDA really helps us to be competitive. So thank you very much for your support. I'm here to answer any questions that the board may have about the project. You can tell I'm excited about it. We're going to be here for a long time, and be happy to answer any questions for you.
Maybe just tell us a little bit about your business. I believe you do monitoring for infrastructure and energy substations, and it's founded in Fairport over 50 years ago.
Yeah, so if you think about maybe a nuclear power plant or a coal power plant or hydroelectric power plant, that electricity has to get to our homes somehow, and every volt of electricity has to go through a transformer. And those transformers are actually quite large. They're big semi-tractor trailer size. It says this room, these transformers, and there's thousands of them being produced right now because of the electricity demands across the planet. We make gauges that go on those transformers to make sure that they stay safe. If you can think about this transformer, it's actually an enclosed vessel filled with oil and electricity going through it. That gets hot. We're going to make sure it doesn't get too hot. Our gauges make sure of that. You also have to make sure that not too much pressure builds up in there, because when the transformer explodes, that's bad, right? So we make sure that the pressure is mitigated. And then that oil, we want to make sure that the right amount of oil is in there. So we make gauges to make sure that those transformers stay safe. So that's a summary of what we do here in the Fairport site. Yes,
I have a question. Does what's going on with AI and data centers, is that helping you grow your business even more?
Well, the answer to that is yes. I was about to joke that it's killing me because I'm getting so many orders right now. I don't know what to do with them. But data centers are energy consumers, big energy consumers. And so the Amazons of the world, the Googles of the world, the folks that make those data centers, they are screaming for our product. And we expect that demand to continue for at least the next 5 years. Hence, we're here trying to build a building. Right? Yes, sir.
And my colleagues and I on the board are always interested in growing business in the community and all the variables that go into it. In particular, how did we stack up, the county's proposal stack up and the state's proposal with regard to obtaining qualified employees? You're looking at a massive jump in your employee base, and from what it sounds like, you have to do it quickly.
So how did we stack up?
New York State and Monroe
Right.
County, yeah.
I can tell you one of the good things about our area is we have great education providers, right? So I can't tell you how many RIT graduates I have working for us. But the same thing with U of R and same thing with the rest of the universities around here. So we have a highly technical workforce here. It is a challenge to find what we would call direct labor, hourly employees. And currently I have probably 200 plus. And we're probably going to double that over the next few years. It is a challenge to find good qualified hourly employees. But I will say it's challenging almost anywhere I look to find good qualified hourly employees. The stories that we all hear about the new generation coming up and not wanting to do these types of jobs, it's true here and it's true everywhere. But it's the devil we know. And so we want to stay here. We have good, I would say, feeder paths of people that are coming into our organization. And we want to improve those, but I will say that it's a challenge.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You might want to think about reaching out to BOCES, which is very close to where you are. They can help you with those hourly employees. I'm a former superintendent of schools, and we made use of a program there for kids who weren't necessarily college bound. So
yeah. Great suggestion.
You might be able to find some people there to help you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Sure, we go.
Who's your biggest competitor and where are they located?
So our largest competitor in our market is a German company, and they are located in Germany. They're about half of our size. Mesko is the name of the company, MESKO, and they make very similar products. And so yeah, does that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
I was going to joke about Mesko too, but I'll leave my competitors out of this conversation.
I'll just add that, thank you once again for making this investment and having confidence in Monroe County to meet your needs. This project was competitive with another state, so it was potential that a long-time Monroe County manufacturing business could relocate operations and expand elsewhere. And thanks to our collaboration with company leadership and with other state and local partners, we were able to make it work for Qualitrol such that we're not just retaining good jobs locally, we're also expanding by quite a bit job base.
Will we ask which state?
Pardon me?
Will we ask which state we were competing with?
To be honest with you, I can't remember. I was not part of that 2 years ago when it started. South Carolina?
Yeah.
I was going to say North Carolina, but
Maybe it was, I'm sorry, you're right, it's North Carolina.
Okay.
I conflated one of my Carolinas.
I will tell you though, that we looked at, that was who came down to the end, but we looked at not only other states, but many other countries. Because if you think about it, labor costs, you have an arbitrage available in a lot of different countries, and boy, I'll tell you, we wanted to keep these jobs here in the US, and this team helped us do that, so thank you.
That's awesome. That's an example of how public-private partnership works. So, thank you. Any other additional questions for Jim? Okay, there being none. There was a public hearing that was held on April 15th. Robin, were there any comments at the public hearing?
There were no comments.
Jim, I'm going to have just a couple of questions for you. You're welcome to stay there. Just wanted to manage our expectations. Okay, so there are no comments. So now I have just a couple of questions for you. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
I am, yes.
Okay. Do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
We do not.
Okay. Are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
I am.
Okay, great. The secret process for this project has been complete, so at this time, I'll entertain a motion and a second for inducement and final resolution approving the sales tax exemption and a partial real property tax abatement. So moved by Miguel, seconded by Rhett. I'll call any discussion. Okay, there being none, I'll call the vote. Norm?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rhett?
Yeah,
Miguel?
Yes.
So yes for me. Motion carries. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, maybe one last comment. I'm glad we approved because, construction starts tomorrow.
That's great.
Thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Who's the contract?
Novalis Construction?
Oh, okay.
Novalis Construction.
Great. Okay, moving on, project number 2, we have WDG2 LLC. Anna, would you please read the project summary?
WDG2 LLC is planning to construct a 24-unit residential development consisting of 7 buildings and a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units in the town of Harrington. Rents will range from $2,900 to $4,000. The $10.6 million project is seeking a mortgage reporting tax exemption, sales tax exemption, and qualifies for the Housing Plus real property tax abatement recommended in COMIDA's housing study. The project is projected to create 2 direct FTEs and has a benefit to incentive ratio of 8-to-1. And this is perhaps redundant, as you made some comments earlier, Truman, but we want to acknowledge some written comments received regarding this project and the effects of the proposed pilot on Pittsburgh Central schools and clarify the figures. The figures cited in several comments, approximately $800,000, represents an estimated difference between full taxation of the completed project and the proposed pilot. It is not an $800,000 reduction from what the district currently receives from the property.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Anna. We have a representative, Mr. Dennis Wilmot. Dennis, please join us and provide us with any comments that you'd like.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd also like to introduce my business partner, Jim Barbada with Pride Mark Homes as well.
Sure.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak today before the board. I'd like to start first by complimenting the board and COMIDA with the recent amendments to your economic incentives specific to housing. I think that's a very important tool to address a serious issue, which is the housing crisis. It's real. The demand continues to grow for housing while the supply remains somewhat static, and the gulf between those 2 economic variables will continue to grow, which is the root of the problem that we face today. Parenton, where the project is being proposed, has a occupancy rate for both single family and apartments in excess of 96%, which is above both county and national averages. I think everyone in the community and the county wants to see a solution for the housing crisis. I think the problem we faced firsthand and other developers face is they don't want it in their backyard. The project that we have proposed does not require any variances. In fact, it complies with a comprehensive study that the town completed 5 or 7 years ago, specific to both the basin and this parcel. What we are delivering in terms of the housing is exactly what the town envisioned. In spite of not requiring a single variance and conforming to town ordinances 100%, including the plan, there was considerable opposition for this project, primarily from local residents, which impacted the town's decision in terms of the ultimate density of this project. It did force us to reduce the density by over 20%. You could argue more based on the fact that three-story buildings could have been allowed. We elected in the interest of conformity for the historic district to keep the impact to a minimum. The higher entitlement costs, higher financing costs, higher construction costs, these are all headwinds not unique to our project, but to many other housing projects in the county. And the COMIDA Housing Plus program is integral for our financial modeling in order to secure financing and meet banks' covenants, for debt coverage ratios, et cetera. This project may only be 24 apartments, but the aggregation of many more projects such as this is a huge step forward for addressing this issue in Monroe County. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Dennis? Yes, Miguel?
What were the local residents' main concern and?
The recurring theme we heard was and it's a subjective comment, is the appropriateness of the project. It wasn't, about the size, the scale, the density, and we in fact prepared a survey comparing our density relative to existing properties in the historic district, and we were actually below the mean. But I think the biggest issue is the parcel currently is comprised of a 50-year-old vacant house and trees. So it's a heavily treed parcel in a commercial zone, and people just don't like to see, the removal of trees and the visual impact that has. But I think the fact that the parcel is untouched really agitated that perception that, this was gonna be an undesirable outcome for the parcel. Everyone wanted to see it remain as it was.
One more question.
Sure.
What did the seeker result in the impact of traffic in that area?
No, we had a neg deck seeker last August, and the DOT, the trip generation at peak for this project was 7 cars per hour. What also agitated that review was, if you recall, that was the commencement of the closure of one of the exits at 490 south of the basin. So a lot of traffic actually had to be diverted, or drivers decided to go through the basin rather than, because they couldn't get on 490. I will say, because my office is adjacent to the site as well, compared to other areas that were impacted, namely, for example, the Four Corners of Pittsburgh, I think the basin really absorbed that increase fairly well relative to some other locations in the area. That exit reopened prior to the winter, and now they've subsequently closed the other exit, but traffic flow is Route 96 has always been considered a connection from both Pittsburgh, Fairport, and Victor. Prior to 490, that really was the main artery, north-south. But it's, from a, seeker or traffic impact, that was an issue that the residents really tried to overblow and, I think, manipulate the fact that all this increased traffic was temporary, it wasn't permanent.
I also really want to speak quickly to the concern expressed about taxes. There is kind of a misunderstanding of what happens when you give an abatement. They still pay taxes. And I can speak as a former superintendent of schools, I almost prefer consistent tax-based growth instead of one large increase, because then your levy increases to a point where even though you're not over the cap, it confuses people. So I kind of like the idea of a consistent growth of the base that helps. School districts don't lose any money in this deal. They really don't. Just wanted to clear that up.
And if I can add to that, our anticipated profile for our renters in this project, I'm not sure it's gonna, the majority will have school-age children. I think it's gonna be an older demographic.
I was curious, Dennis, and this is subjective only, but with a 20% reduction in density and the project only being 24 units, did that in any way compel you to have to come before us for an abatement in order to rationalize the project and make it work?
Absolutely, that's what, it's an of-need proposal, and even at the 30, going back, Brian, to my prior comment, the claims that the opposition made were entirely unfounded about a subjective perception that the proposed project was too dense. It was just false. But, everything's about meeting in the middle somewhere, and it was an accommodation to the town and to the residents, and, we're excited to move forward. We think it's gonna be a great project, and it's a great pedestrian walkable area. It's a gateway to the canal. And I will say that Fairport, especially the new supervisor, have been very supportive of the project, and I wish most towns worked as effectively as Barrington. I think they got a really good team there.
Nice question.
Sure.
So these ladies had spoken about being more, less emissions and more green. Are you doing anything in the project? Are you gonna have car
I would
chargers? Are
actually
you
defer
gonna
to
have?
Jim. I think he can talk about in terms of the building materials that we are using are extremely more efficient than past processes. If you wanna.
Sure. Jim Barbado. It was interesting to listen to their comments, and I do agree, and I understand climate change. And if you look at where the codes have gone in New York State for building codes, your basic codes are forcing that agenda or that movement forward with the insulation, with the high efficiency of our air conditioning units, everything that's been, I've been in this business for 30 years. We've gone to what used to be our upgraded insulation or our efficiency of our equipment has gone way above and beyond, and we just had another code update that this project will be under that drives that even farther. So as much as it sounds like it's a choice by developers just to go in and put in old equipment, we're not doing that. Everything is high efficiency. Yes, we still are using gas because there really is a lack of electricity available. So I understand the push towards getting rid of fossil fuels, and we'll reach that point, but we don't have the capacity of the electric to support it. And then we really don't have the equipment that does it efficiently for our climate. So the two are a struggle, but we will be doing high efficiency, tankless water heaters. We do a lot of things that advance it, but it's not gonna meet a true green standard because that code keeps moving farther and farther away.
Are you gonna have car chargers?
Yes. Yeah, and what we do too is we build many multifamily communities. We put in car chargers within the community, but then also we prep every home with a conduit, so it's easy for that person to come in and add their own car charger that lives there, because it's hard to guess what somebody's gonna have. It's a moving target a little bit on what's the platform and the standard for a car charger. So to go in and put them all as a standard, then somebody's gonna ship the technology or a different charger comes in and you've guessed wrong. So we prep everything for a car charger and then add a couple of common ones.
Perfect, thank you.
I assume you're gonna use level 2 chargers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Any more questions? Robin, I believe there was a public hearing that was held on July 15th. Any comments?
Yes, there were comments, several. The live stream link was shared with the board, and in addition, all of the written comments that we've received over the past few days have been shared with the board as well.
Now, I have just a couple questions for you, Dennis. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
Yes.
Do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
No.
Are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes.
Okay, great. The secret process for this project has been complete. This time I will entertain a motion and a second for inducement and final resolution approving the sales tax exemption, partial mortgage recording tax exemption, and the partial real property tax abatements.
So moved.
Moved by Brian, seconded by Rex. Any discussion? There being none, I will call the vote. Norm?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Rex?
Yeah.
Miguel?
Yes.
It's a yes for me. The motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
And thank you for being so well prepared as well. Your answers were great. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Take care. All right, moving on to the third project, we have 2695 Commercial LLC. Anna, would you please read the project summary?
Certainly. 2695 Commercial LLC is planning to construct a 4-story apartment building containing 86 age-restricted residential units for adults ages 55 and older in the town of Henrietta. Rents will range from $1,620 for 1 bedroom to $2,620 for a 3-bedroom. Community-based amenities include an indoor pickleball court, fitness center, and gathering center. This is a $24.5 million project seeking a mortgage reporting tax exemption, sales tax exemption, and the project qualifies for COMIDA's Enhanced Housing Plus Real Property Tax Abatement recommended in the housing study. The project is projected to create 2 direct FTEs and has a benefit to incentive ratio of 10-1.
Okay, great. Thank you, Anna. I believe we have a representative, Mr. Mike Spalletta. Mike, would you like to join us and tell us a little bit about the project?
Well, thank you. Thank you for considering this application. It's been a while coming for this project, and we have gone through a few gyrations from a hotel to this, and then there was COVID-19, so that interrupted it. And we had come to the conclusion that, talking with the town and the town supervisor, that the senior project would be the best fit for this. This will also include a stoplight at Fair Ave and Calkins because of the amount of units that are now there from the 373 in the back. And it fits well with the seniors, obviously with all the amenities, the library, the rec center, Wegmans, the park. The supervisor in Henrietta was very much in favor. It is a 55 plus. We are, initially it was going to be in a market rate apartment complex, but we decided to go to the 55 plus because we know there is a need. We have a project in Fairport, which is a very high demand. And we are going to do an indoor pickle court. Now, there's also a meeting on Thursday with the partners. They're talking about an inside bowling alley and or a golf simulator. So, seeing what we have the room for. So those are some of the amenities. It is fairly high end. Hanlon is the interior decorator on the project. We're trying to make it work financially. Even with assistance, it is it's right there. So that's what the meeting is on Thursday with the representatives to figure out where we're going with some of the costs. With what has happened with the escalation of construction and as Jim mentioned, the efficiencies, the code changes, that's great, but it's driving construction costs up, which is driving rents up. So that's where we stand with this project.
Great. Do you have any questions for Mike?
The rents that we're showing, are those the rents that you're proposing, or you think those are gonna go up?
Well, because the project is about 1.5 to 2 years out, we are proposing those at this time.
You're proposing they're going up, or you're proposing those are going to be the rents?
We propose those to stay there without any, depending on where mortgage rates are.
Okay.
Where we end up locking in eventually. Possibly, there's a possibility they would stay there or even decrease initially if rates were to decrease over the next couple of years. But nobody has a crystal ball on that.
Yeah, I mean, they seem very fair, especially for the 3-bedroom to me. So that's why I was curious if those were what you were going to do, or you were saying they might go up. So, I mean, I understand over time they're going to go up, but those are what you're perceiving as the starting rates.
So this is, I'm sorry, so this is like an untrended rent based on where you to deliver the project today. So if it comes online 2 years from now, then your rents may potentially increase by, I don't know, inflation, right? 3% per year, which would be a trended rent over the next 2 years when you actually start to lease in.
Because obviously expenses increase our G&E.
Sure.
Right.
We don't know where those are gonna fall.
Sure.
Well, I know Scaletta has been, you know, a name that's synonymous with quality and doing good things and.
Well, thank you.
Keeping your headquarters
We
up.
try, 68 years.
Keeping your headquarters
Well, I
up.
haven't been doing it 68 years.
I know, but the family has, but keeping your headquarters on Van Alker Street, being part
We've
of.
been there 44.
I know.
Got out of school at 22, I'm 66. I've been there the whole time. We were building it at that time.
Yep. So it's great, and I like your rates that you're quoting better than the previous,
Right.
rates that are there. So, and it's important that we look at senior housing for us guys with, like us.
But I will tell you, the town was ecstatic when we were going to 55 plus.
Yeah, Henrietta needs it. There is such a lack of senior housing in Henrietta, and that's why I'm just impressed with the rates, and that's why I wanted just to make sure that's what you were thinking. And the area is perfect, like you said. I mean, the location is just so
in the front parcel, we also own 2 acres in the front. We are under contract right now for a daycare center.
Okay, where, originally, was it a restaurant they were looking at putting there?
The town would love a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's what the town really wants, is a restaurant. We haven't been able to consummate a deal with anybody willing to go there right now, so.
So how close is that to the Dole Marina?
Oh, right there.
Oh, fairly close.
So with what's going on with the Dole Marina and what you're doing, you're gonna change that whole landscape there.
Yeah, Wegmans is right there, the dome, the
And
library, the rec, everything. It's just a wonderful location, walking distance
It
to the
is.
town park.
And our project in the back is doing well also.
Abbott's Ice Cream too.
On the subject of the county's climate action plan, which some commentators have noted, does call on COMIDA to look favorably upon projects that incentivize higher density development and development along existing public transit routes and areas of walkability. And so I think this project hits all of those marks.
It's just a wonderful, wonderful project for Henrietta.
I'm just impressed with the total development cost, to be honest with you. Everyone is impressed with the rents, but I think that's a direct byproduct of how much you're building for
Well, some of
per
our
door.
development costs, the building cost, I should say, is above what we have projected. So we're working on that over the next 2 to 3 weeks to see what we can do with the overall light fixtures. I just got an email from the electrician. Your light fixtures are $350,000 over budget. So trying to figure out, okay, you know, can we make a similar light fixture? You know, some of the carpeting was being, Hanlon does a great job. Amazing, if you can afford it. But, you know, they have carpeting being shipped from Europe, carpeting being shipped from Europe. So we're trying to value engineer that and the flooring, things like that. So that's where it is right now.
Great job. I mean, you're below $300,000 per door, so I think it's just a testament to your expertise to get those costs in line. So good job. Any additional questions for Mike? Okay. Robin, there was a public hearing that was held on July 15th. Were there any comments?
No comments.
Okay, no comments. Okay, so I've just got a couple questions for you, Mike, if that's okay. Are you aware of our local labor policy?
Yes.
Do you anticipate any local labor exemptions at this time?
Possibly on the Jip Creek.
Oh, okay.
Possibly.
Probably.
That never goes away.
It doesn't seem, I don't know why somebody hasn't started a company locally for that.
Maybe you can do that. You've got a construction company. And are you aware that any exemptions need to be requested 45 days in advance?
Yes.
Okay, great. The seeker process has been complete for this project, so at this time, I will entertain a motion and a second for inducement and final resolution approving a sales tax exemption, partial mortgage recording tax exemption, and partial real property tax abatement. Norm is very aggressive today, so we'll give it to Norm.
No, Lisa.
No, it's
Lisa.
already done. All right, so.
We were gonna have like a fist fight over
Ladies,
this.
ladies first, we'll give it to Lisa, some seconded by Norm. Any,
Senior housing desperately.
any discussion? Okay, there being none, I'll call the vote. Norm?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Brett?
Yay.
Miguel?
Yes.
It's a yes for me, congrats, Mike,
Thank
motion
you.
carries.
Thank
Yeah,
you very
good luck. All right, moving on, I'm gonna try and get through all the project modifications pretty quickly, we've got a lot here. We have Howard Bay LLC, which is an increase, there's no representative. Do we read the project summary here, or can we?
This is just an increase, pretty straightforward. This is, includes a set aside for senior and affordable housing. Applicant is requesting an increase in sales tax exemption due to additional construction material costs.
Okay. Is there a motion and a second to approve an increase in the project cost?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Brian, seconded by Lisa, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, no objections, motion carries. Great, the next is Lang & Sons Property LLC, which is also an increase, no representative. Anna, can you just give a
Unforeseen site work costs, labor shortages, and permitting costs contributed to increased project costs overall, and so new sales tax exemption not to exceed $112,640, new mortgage reporting tax exemption not to exceed $18,750.
Great. Is there a motion and a second to approve an increase in project costs?
So moved.
Moved by Rhett, seconded by Brian. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No objections, motion carries. Great. Moving on, number 3, Building Materials LLC, which is a pilot modification. There's no representative.
This project, I'm sorry to interrupt,
Okay.
so this is the abandoned Holiday Inn across from the airport. There is a county-owned piece of infrastructure underneath the facility that it's a drain pipe that drains groundwater from the airport into the canal. And so the county requires, as part of the easement, that the project owner, Erie Materials Incorporated, line the sewer and make other accommodations, including construction of a manhole cover that have increased the total project cost by approximately $400,000. So thank you to Rachel and Robin, staff, for working on this solution, which is a creative one to help the project owner absorb some additional savings to accommodate for those unforeseen county related cost increases.
Great.
So, excuse me one second, so as a member of the airport authority, while I didn't get into the details, I bring it up at every meeting, is anybody who know anything about that eyesore? Because the hotel is a mess.
Oh, it is a
So
mess.
they're thrilled that something is coming. Didn't share any of the details because I didn't want to jinx it. But it sounds like it's gonna happen, and when people fly in and they see a gorgeous building, it'll be a very positive thing for our community, so thank you for your hard work.
Excuse me, sorry.
All right. Thank you for those additional comments, Howard. Supplemental public hearing was held on July 20th in the town of Gates, and there are no comments, correct?
No
Okay.
comments.
Is there a motion and a second to approve a modification of the real property tax abatement? So moved by Rhett, seconded by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. There being none, the motion carries. Moving on to number 4, which is Legacy Tower LLC, which is a pilot modification. No representative on it.
Recently, the owner developer, this is the former Bausch and Lomb Tower in the city of Rochester. The owner approached the city to discuss the fact that the pilot payments on the existing pilot exceed the amount of real property taxes that would otherwise be payable absent the pilot agreement, and have requested an amendment to adjust the pilot payments for the remainder of the term of the pilot.
Any questions? Okay. Is there a motion and a second to approve a modification of the real property tax abatement?
I make a motion.
So moved by Lisa, seconded by Norm. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries. Modification number 5, Charlotte Square Apartments LLC, which is an assignment assumption. But we have a representative here with us today. Okay, Mr. Christopher Hoke? Yep. Okay, Esquire. Would you like to make any comments? Sure.
Like you said, Chris Hope, we're here with Oviatt. We represent Charlotte Square Property, who is buying the apartments. They're closing here shortly, hopefully at the end of the month. My client is buying several properties in Rochester. He owns a couple. His wife is actually from the Rochester area, so he's trying to kind of build up his developments in Rochester. The use of the property is not changing. It'll be the same apartments. He's very focused on maintenance issues at the property. I know he's gone back and forth with the seller on a couple of those things, so he's excited to own the property. It was a big win for him during the bidding process, and asked me to just say that to you guys. So thank you guys, appreciate it.
Sure. Go ahead.
These are properties that once owned by home leasing?
Correct.
And you're basically taking over that portion of their portfolio?
Yeah, they're selling this property to my client. Yep.
Any other properties?
It's just this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's going to do the property management?
Say that again.
The property management?
It'll be him internally. He has his own property management company.
What's the name of it?
of the property manager. Collaborative real estate, I believe it's called.
Okay. Any additional questions? There be none. Is there a motion and a second to approve the sale of the facility and assignment of the real property tax abatement? So moved by Brian, seconded by Rhett. Any discussion? None, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Congrats.
Thank you, guys.
Miguel, you need to start pulling your weight on these motions. You gotta be quick with it.
Okay, moving on, those are the end of the project modifications. We'll now move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the compliance committee report. Would you like me to read those?
Sure, certainly, yeah.
Sure. The compliance committee met on July 14th to discuss compliance matters with respect to certain COMIDA projects. The committee reviewed the sales tax recapture report and an update on the status of projects that have failed to make the required payments under their respective pilot agreements. The committee reviewed the job compliance report, which provides information regarding companies seeking a waiver from the job creation requirements contained in the pilot agreements. The committee is recommending job waivers be granted for 19 projects during 2025. In addition, staff highlighted a few companies that have exceeded their job creation requirement, which is great. Okay, any additional comments on the compliance committee report or from the compliance committee members? No? Okay, great. Is there a motion and a waiver to?
Motion and a second.
I'm sorry, motion and a second to grant the following projects as identified by project code. Do I need to read all of these? No, okay. Everyone has the list, I believe. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Lisa, seconded by Brian. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Okay, great. Motion carries. All right, and item K, Executive Director discussion items. Anna.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I'll keep this very brief. First item is a request for $15,000 from Visit Rochester to supplement or in addition to the existing $150,000 contract that we have with them for the celebration of the America 250 program that was hosted on July 12th at ESL Ballpark. This is due to the fact that there was some anticipation or expectation of a state grant coming to Monroe County for the America 250 celebration, and Visit Rochester factored some of that into their budget. And as reflected in the board packet materials, we received communication from Visit Rochester that the grant included several eligibility requirements and restrictions that couldn't be met by the event, and as a result, the grant funds were unavailable. And the budget for the program in total undertaken by Visit Rochester was $165,000. So they are looking to COMIDA to help bridge that $15,000 variance in budget.
Just a question based on what we've talked about in the past about tightening our belts and everything else. Why, I know it's a small amount of money, but why is COMIDA being asked for the 15,000 versus somewhere else?
That's a very good question. So it's rooted in the fact that initially when conversations were taking place in late 2025 about the 250th with Visit Rochester, there was some general understanding and acknowledgement around the table between the county and Visit Rochester leadership that a grant in the amount of approximately $50,000 might be coming from the state education department, and that those dollars could be leveraged to further this program. And then as this year has gone on and we've had dealings with the state education department about the grant and the requirements thereof, the request fell back on COMIDA that the expectations by Visit Rochester were that we would have additional resources above and beyond this $150,000 originally approved by COMIDA. The county does not have those additional resources. the event was originally, I think, slated to have a budget of between $180,000 and $200,000, came in under budget at $165,000. So leadership at Visit Rochester approached the county executive to say, can you help us with this variance? And that ask came back to COMIDA, where the original county support for the
And they did a
250th.
good job because they were under that 180 to 200,000 without that grant.
Yeah, yes, I would say so. So it's, you're absolutely right though to point out tightening of belts and resetting of expectations and circumstances as it relates to COMIDA and asks that can come before this board related to funding. If it was an increment much larger than $15,000, we probably wouldn't be putting it in front of the board at this juncture, but $15,000 relatively seemed manageable. So happy to continue having dialogue. There is still a grant that is set to come to the county from the state education department for the 250th, but it requires that the county be very specific in how it's expending those dollars. There has to be a connection to BOCES, and the county legislature will have to vote to accept the grant, and in the event that the county were to sub-grant or re-grant those dollars out to another organization such as Visit Rochester, that would have to go through a competitive RFP process. So those limitations and additional requirements made it infeasible for this grant, which was hypothetical at the stage that we had the initial planning conversations, made it infeasible for those dollars to make their way to Visit Rochester. So it's my understanding the county will undertake a different planning process as it relates to those. I think it's approximately $53,000 that will be coming. So that'll be a separate conversation not pertaining to COMIDA.
Building on Rhett's point, that last part you said is encouraging. And so it sounds like there's an awareness, not just at this board, about us not being a little pot of money that's, I don't want to say anything more than that, but rather I would be much more enthusiastic when Visit Rochester comes in and talks about marketing the airport as they did. And as a board member, I'd like to be supportive of projects that move the needle and not little side projects, and would hate to think we are a convenient source or our budget is available for others to decide or encourage us to spend on. Just
That's well stated, and you're in good company around this table, Brian, in making that point, absolutely.
I really, go ahead, Rick. No.
So I was gonna say, I think that part of it is that those couple of great years that we had, the county has looked back on what we've done and somehow, and I know you get pushed through all that, but I think the sooner we get together and figure out, you know, what we're gonna be doing for the community, probably the better, because it'll take a little pressure off of you.
Thanks for saying that, Red, I appreciate it. We are planning to have a dialogue with board chair, sitting together with myself, staff leadership, Greg will be part of that conversation, and the county executive to talk through what are our priorities moving forward as it relates to community development and support for community programming.
You know, we've had we've had preliminary discussions as it relates to maybe not necessarily policies, but guidelines as it relates to budgets and spend. And I think we've made some progress in that respect. And so, you know, I think the next step is to have the broader conversation first, probably with the finance committee, and then following the finance committee with the board at large. But hearing great point, and I think staff is on.
I think that it's easy to come and ask for $15,000 from the board. What they really should do is try to find that money within their own organization first, before they come to us. I know they give a tremendous amount of money from the hotel motel tax. and they're not poor. And we did subsidize it by $150,000, the initial ask. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's something that, you know, they have to really look within before they come and say, we need this from you.
Well put. And obviously well-informed because you know, having been with.
I know hotel motel tax, I know what goes on, I know what they get. And they get more than anybody in the hotel motel tax, and that's how that's funded, so.
You know, to go along with that, Truman, your comments about the discussion that's being had, once it's cut and dry, maybe people aren't gonna continue to ask.
That's the hope.
So.
Some guardrails such that, it's difficult, you know, nobody likes saying no. And when you do say no, you wanna be able to rely on some justification. And it doesn't qualify, we don't have sufficient funds. So that's where we're trying to get with, under Truman's leadership, is some really specific clarity around what we can and can't support.
You can stand in front of the mirror and practice that no also.
I think there's a button you can press.
It's not a no, right? So I'd love to, we just can't.
Well said. I would love to, we just can't.
Yeah, we don't have the resources.
Right, right. The same headwinds impacting other organizations also impact COMIDA in a different, in less direct manner. And there are, you know, grant monies are drying up at many levels in the charitable universe. And so that forces certain organizations to look to.
Yeah, well, I mean, we say this in jest, but we have to be sustainable, right? So that, I think that's what this is all pointing towards, making sure that the fiscal policy that we have in place, or the fiscal guidelines, not policy, that we have in place, leads towards long-term, fiscal responsibility, and longevity. And so, again, I think staff is on it, and I think, in due course, we'll have these conversations with folks, right? Is that fair? Okay.
I'm just the legal, I'm not the money
Right,
person.
okay, all right.
So leave that to Greg.
All right, there we go.
You're
Okay.
entitled to it.
Yeah, I know.
So does this
I'll call
require?
this individually,
Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, no, it's okay. Is there a motion, to approve an increase in $15,000 to Visit Rochester for marketing promotion and a second for, America's 250th celebration? Motion and a second? I believe it was moved by Red. Is anyone second?
You can
I'll-
vote however you
I'll-
want,
you know,
even if you motion.
All right, second. I'll call the vote individually on this one, how about that? Red?
Yay.
Okay. Miguel?
Abstain.
Okay. Norm?
No.
Okay. Lisa?
No.
Okay. Brian?
I'd have to say no.
Okay.
No harm, no
All
foul.
right, no for me too. The motion is not. Okay,
Understood.
okay.
No, if,
You do have $1.4 million.
I would have rather, if they were to give us some more information.
Of course.
Super local to it, I need more information for them to come and just say we need $15,000.
And I'll acknowledge too, perhaps I should have put more planning and thought and consideration into encouraging someone from Visit Rochester to attend the meeting.
Right.
Again, this resulted from a multitude of conversations that happened between leadership of that organization and the executive's office, and so completely understand the direction that we want to take here.
I think if people didn't go through and read that, I think that, and you had mentioned the 180 to 200,000 versus where we ended up at 165.
Ma'am, are these costs that they've already incurred?
These are costs they've already incurred because the program took place on July 12th, and it was communicated to the county that the organization was under contract with vendors in the amount of $165,000, and COMIDA had only approved up to $150,000.
Sure.
And they had budgeted anticipating that an additional set, a pot of funds would be made available, and that ended up not being the case for a variety of legal reasons.
Sure.
And so the recommendation was to come back to this body for, to bridge, again, that variance.
No, I understand. So there are potentially some reputational risk on Visit Rochester's part if they have invoices that go unpaid with vendors. Does it make sense for us, I mean, it's already not passed.
I'm gonna tell you. I don't wanna say it on record.
Okay.
Okay, I vote no.
Okay. Moving on, didn't pass. I don't have any discussion items, and so at this point, the motion is,
Just
Sure.
real quick, so Anna, where else can they go for that money other than COMIDA? In your thoughts?
I will have conversations with my colleagues in the county executive's office, and I'll connect once more with Visit Rochester leadership. I think, as I mentioned, this forthcoming grant from the state education department probably is moving forward. Maybe there's something that can be done there, but nothing from other resources as far as I can come up with off the top of my head today.
What is the annual budget of Visit Rochester, do we know? Oh, what is the hotel motel tax that we collect?
I'm not gonna say anything.
We collect approximately 8%.
8%, 8%, and it's, some of it goes to the convention center, some of it goes to, most of it goes to, Visit Rochester, and it's a formula that's been, set up through the different agreements going back as far as the Norton Ryan.
Suppose I could Google the annual budget then?
Right. Yeah.
And their estimated annual revenue is approximately $4.6 million. Majority of those dollars do come from Monroe County, and there's been a significant increase in recent years. I sit around that table ex officio for the county executive, so have some privy understanding knowledge of some of the things, but I do understand that conversations are underway about modifications to the hotel motel tax, and obviously there's some hotels that are struggling right now, so, but sizable budget.
is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we're adjourned.